So welcome back to another episode of Street Switch Photography. This one's a heartfelt one, by the way, so just make sure you keep watching. This is about Melton being a complete shithole.
He needs to tongue punch that fart box.
So the other day, me and my family went to Stamford. We went for a day trip there on Friday, which is on a market day, and it was absolutely fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and so did my family. We took the dog with us, caught the train from Melton. It goes through Oakham straight to Stamford. You get off the train, you exit the train straight on to the park, where we took the dog for a walk around the park, went and see the ducks, we fed the ducks, and then walked into the town centre. The town centre has been featured in a film called Pride and Prejudice and a few series on the BBC and ITV. They like to use this location because of its ornate streets and the way it actually looks. It's very pleasing to the eye. And anyway, we got back to Melton, we caught the bus back to where we live, ordered a takeaway and settled in for the evening. It was a lovely day, it was really relaxing and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, today Melton Mowbray was doing something called Super Saturday, which is supposed to be a large market and other things going on in and around the town. So I thought I'd pop down on my scooter and go and do some recording to try and big up Melton. And I was depressed. After coming back from Stamford, I can actually see what Melton has become compared to what it was 25 years ago. Melton is a shithole. Now, considering it was a Super Saturday, there was supposed to be things going on. All we had was somebody in town blowing bubbles for the kids and a couple of woke stores selling what I would describe as pictures of, I don't know what, it's called alternative art and things like that. And I just don't get it. Maybe it's my age. I don't know. But you compare that to Stamford Market on a Friday and they had markets for everything. They had a vinyl record market, they had fruit markets, they had dog markets, they had, you name it, they had it. Clothes markets. If you want it, you can buy it from the market in Stamford on a Friday. They've got loads of caff, loads of pubs, loads of coffee shops, everything. And it's just a completely different experience to Melton Mowbray. Now, Melton Mowbray is a rural market town and it's actually larger than Stamford. But when I went over to Stamford, Stamford felt way busier, way more relaxing, way more inviting. Melton has not got a lot going for it at the moment. There's nothing to do for children. There's nothing to do for adults in that respect. And it's just a dive, and very soon we're going to become another suburb of Leicester because of the LCC land grab. Now, I've come to a decision, and I didn't want to have to come to this decision, but I have. I will no longer be doing videos of Melton Mowbray. Melton is lost. Melton is gone. Things have been bought up by an ethnic minority on a massive scale. We've had hundreds of houses built, thousands of houses built, and absolutely no infrastructure put in to support all of the new residents of Melton Mowbray. So it's only going to get worse. If I want to go shopping, Christmas shopping, birthday shopping, any type of shopping from now on, we'll probably go to Stamford. Stamford will be getting my custom. Now, when things like this happen, we know that Stamford is quite a rich area. Melton could have been the same, but it's too far gone. People haven't woke up. People didn't open their eyes in time, even though I did video after video after video. And in my opinion, it's just too late. And I'm not willing to spend my valuable time on trying to save something that is unsavable. It's a waste of my time and effort. Now, people might not like what I say, but as you know, I don't give a stuff. We've got all these creative shops open in Melton that claim that they're there not to be prejudiced against anybody, not to discriminate against anybody, and to help the town as a whole. Melton has turned into a woke cesspit. And when I say that, I am not joking. The market, when I used to go into town, you were going to buy fruit, veg, clothes for winter, clothes for autumn, clothes for summer, clothes for spring. Now what you can buy is a spring onion and a photo of a vagina, commonly known as alternative art, unless you want to tie some ribbons round your fingers and call yourself a dress. I don't know. I don't understand all this woke bullshit, because that's what it is. We went to a market at the stockyard a couple of weeks ago and it was a craft market. I understand people wanting to do crafts and things like that, but it's not the sort of thing you go shopping for on a Saturday afternoon. Well, some might, I don't know, but I know I certainly don't. There's nothing left for people like me and my family in this town. I would like to be able to go down to town and actually buy something that I need. I don't need a clothes peg, a ribbon and some paint and then paint it and call it, I don't know, the painted ribbon peg that shows off fertility. This is how stupid it is. And I'm sick and tired of it. I never thought I'd come back to Melton and go downtown the next day and feel so goddamn depressed because of the state of the place. The shop fronts are an absolute disgrace. Melton Borough Council should be ashamed of themselves. I don't know the finances. I don't pretend to be intelligent. I don't pretend to be some sort of connoisseur or business representative for anybody. But what I do know, a lick of paint and a little bit of care can make the shop fronts look a hell of a lot better. They look shit. It is not inviting at all. We've had new bins. New seats for people to sit on and do fuck all. Because that's what's to do in Melton. So maybe we need some more seats so more people can sit down and do fuck all. Now, be warned, if you're easily triggered or easily offended, this video is not going to be for you, because there's going to be some name drops that some people may not like, but I am past caring. Now, a few years ago, I used to do a lot of street photography in and around town, and I used to enjoy it. In fact, I'd go as far to say as it actually saved my life, along with my family and the help from my wife's family as well. I have ADHD and I also have autism. And not everybody complained. In fact, I got a lot of attention, hence my page on Facebook called Photography It's All About the Edit. I did do some street photography in Stamford, but what happened in Melton was people started complaining because I was taking photos in a public place. I wasn't necessarily taking photos of vulnerable people or people in a position of distress. I wasn't taking photos of residential windows. I wasn't taking photos around schools. I do have ethics. Now, the problem became apparent when we had somebody called Miss B's Tea Room complaining that I was taking photos in and around the town. And she put a complaint in to the town estate to try and stop me taking photos in and around town. That didn't work. In fact, it spurred me on to take even more photos in and around town, which I did. Now, with Melton turning so woke and being such an arty-farty town, you'd have thought that they'd have appreciated my artwork or my art form, which is street photography. But it seems people do not like it. Not all, in fact, most do like it, but you do get the odd plonker that will say, you cannot take photos of me in public, my privacy. You have no sense of privacy in public. In fact, you shouldn't even think you have any sense of privacy in public, considering you are on CCTV up to 50 times a day, not including ring doorbells, other people's mobile phones and dash cams. And you're worried about little old me with my little cheap camera walking round town taking photos of whatever I can see from a public place. So what do I mean exactly about Melton turning very woke? Well, we've got different shops and stuff around town. Obviously, we've got a Sports Direct, which is helping migrants and everything else. I don't know whether we've got a Vodafone because they've been found to have been helping migrants as well. But what I have noticed, and this is personal to me, everybody else might not have noticed it. I do notice a lot of things. Being a street photographer, maybe I've trained my brain to be sharper with this type of thing. I don't know, but I've noticed a lot of shops being bought up by an ethnic minority at a certain end of town. I've noticed very left-leaning shops opening in and around town. Creative shops that claim not to discriminate against people, discriminate against anybody for that matter. In fact, they claim that they like to welcome everybody. In some cases, not all, only if you agree with their opinion and you don't ask any questions that may reveal exactly what it is they're up to. For example, gender affirming. I asked a simple question: are you going to be gender affirming with this alternative education that you will be giving children at this location? I then basically got called a bigot, and that I am the reason that these people need a safe space. I did not call anybody any names or anything of the sort. Now, my decision to actually not record in Melton Mowbray isn't just down to some of these plonkers that have been basically giving me a load of rubbish for the past 3 to 4 years. It's down to I don't feel the same way I used to feel about Melton because nobody else seems to give a damn, so why should I? The story of Melton for me begins back in 1977 when I was born, and right up until the early 80s when we used to walk into town and there was a market from where Morrison's is now all the way down to Iceland, all in the market square, all the way up to the King's Head, and the cattle market would be open as well with a market in there, and we also had the Central Arcade. Going out in Melton on a Tuesday was a day out in itself. You could spend all day going to the cafes. You could spend all day looking around the market, looking for what you need. Not anymore. We're lucky if we've got 7 or 8 stores on a super Saturday in the centre of town, and they want to pedestrianise Leicester Street to basically make more room for seats and sitting and doing fuck all. And to me, that's just a waste. What I wanted for Melton was more market stores, more people coming out here in the market banter, more coffee shops so people can meet family and friends and have conversations, more interaction with people, more stopping in the street and having a chat about John who's done whatever up the road and things like that, like we used to. A sense of community that has now fell away completely. You walk through town on a Monday, you see people sitting outside of Greggs who you've seen sitting outside of Greggs for the last 10 years. Maybe you'll bump into somebody that you haven't seen for about 3 weeks who are just popping into town to come and get a loaf of bread or a pint of milk, or they've got to pop to the doctors because they've been waiting 8 weeks for an appointment, or they've got to go for an eye test at the local 2 free opticians that we have in Melton. But then they tell you they've got toothache and can't get an appointment actually at the orthodontist. All this with the threat of people on electric scooters and electric bikes working for Uber Just Eats nearly hitting you as they race past at 25 miles an hour to deliver somebody's cold cheeseburger from McDonald's, who are looking to open more hours so we can have more Uber Eats delivering more food to people's addresses, making people stay indoors and not socialising or having a sense of community. Is this what people want? Is this what the government wants? Because I think it is. On the events front of things, there's been multiple events that have been shut down in Melton over the past 6 months due to reasons out of Town Estate's control, apparently. Now, I'm saying this is speculation. I don't work for Town Estate. I have no affiliation with Town Estate. I basically say what I see. And all I see in Melton now is as one massive, great, big shite hole. And that's the way I feel about it. And again, I've been doing these videos now for close to 3 years, and I don't think I can do them anymore. I will go down for the local elections and things like that because they're fun. But other than that, there's nothing here. There's nothing left. The theatre, the library, other factories have closed down. So we had the wood yard, we had the cheese factory, we had St. Gobain that was employing people. Employment in Melton, or unemployment in Melton, is at an all-time high, and that is just basically taking more money out of Melton instead of putting money into Melton. And it's such a sad state of affairs. It's been handed over now to a Conservative government over here, and we'll be going through something called devolution. I don't believe there is anything they can do to fix this town. I believe this town is basically done. It's the end of Melton. It will become Islamified from one end to the other. We'll just have takeaway after takeaway after takeaway after hairdressers after betting shop. It's like that nearly already. All these shops doing the money laundering while people just batter their eyelids and walk past and not give a shit. It's down to us that this has happened, and down to the local government that this has happened. And now it's happened. There's nothing that can be done to save it. All I can say is people told you so, use it or lose it, and now you've lost it. Now, if you are one of the, the woke left that likes to do potato printing, dyeing your hair pink, green, yellow, agreeing with gender affirming children, leading to a lifelong illness called depression of habitual self-harming and eating disorders and confusion about gender, and you want to pop into town to go and get a haircut, get your nails done, maybe pop in 1 or 2 second-hand shops and have a look at the 3 markets that are in the town centre selling pictures that make absolutely no sense whatsoever, Melton is the place for you. Now, maybe some people may disagree with me and do a video actually saying we've got this and we've got that and we've got the other and we've got, and where's all the entertainment in Melton? What about nights out in Melton? But then what you have to do is compare that to the 90s or early 2000s. Compare that to what we had then. We had everything. I realised just how lucky I was to be born in 1977 and be part of Gen X and actually have what I had. Now, as a parent, I would love nothing more for my siblings to be able to go into town and find something to do while I sit in a cafe having a coffee and a bacon sandwich with my wife and not having to worry about what's going to happen or whether something's going to kick off in town. But you simply cannot do that anymore because of the dangers of modern day society. And again, as I said before, we are going to become another suburb of Leicester, and you've seen the state of Leicester. Just look at it. People with pokey implements poking each other all the time, people with other pokey things poking them in different orifices all of the time, and speculation and misinformation and all the rest of it going on all of the time, all because of the internet. And that is what it boils down to. This, at some point, has got to come to an end. And for me personally, this is the end of Melton Mowbray. Goodbye, Melton Mowbray. You were a good friend, but you're no longer that good friend. You are that friend, or what you like to call a friend, that has turned into the alcoholic, that has turned out into the drug dependent, wallowing in their own piss in a corner at some sort of park location that nobody knows about. That's the friend you've become. And I want nothing to do with you anymore. I do not want to be part of your child-harming ideology, your wokeness that you think that this artwork is absolutely fantastic. It's a load of squiggly lines on a white background. You will obviously see the same old faces in town. People pass away, new kids are born into whatever era we are going through. Maybe we do need to move along with the times, but are these new times suitable for what we want for the future? Now, if I could get up and move to Stamford tomorrow, I would do it in an instant, but that just is not going to happen. But what will be happening is I won't be recording a single part of Melton Mowbray ever again. I will be taking no photos of a single part of Melton Mowbray ever again. I'd be better off walking out onto the grass local to me and taking a photo of a dog turd with a flag in it, because that's how I feel personally about Melton Mowbray. Now, don't take this offensively. You take Melton Mowbray however you like. It's my business how I take Melton Mowbray. In fact, it's your business if you watch this video. You're quite welcome to comment, because we do have apparently freedom of speech in this country. And according to some shops in town, freedom of expression without being judged. Even though some of these places say they don't judge people, yet clearly do, in such a way that they call you a bigot and that you're the problem. Now, again, you can take this video however you want, but this is definitely the end of any video in Melton Mowbray or even a mention of Melton Mowbray. This has been Street Switch Photography. I'm sorry to have to put this video out like this, but that's the truth. And I'm very well known for saying it as it is. Please tune in for other videos that I'll be doing. I don't know exactly what direction this channel is taking, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I will still be doing regular videos. Maybe I'll be doing regular videos on colonic irrigation or something along those lines. I'll probably be spending more time in my little studio that I have here in the corner of my house, or I might be taking walks out in the countryside looking at cowpats. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds, but I just know that Melton depresses me and Stamford makes me happy. And what Melton could have been and should have been hasn't happened. It's a lost town and it's turned into a cesspit. That's the takeaway from this video. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Someone says it had 5 gears and a bloody clutch.